We standing together, standing tall through all adversity, play after play, down after down.
Steelers show blitz. They bring 5. Intercepted! Cam Sutton takes it away. Fires for the end zone. Touchdown, George Jenkins!
We got to dominate up front. Energy, effort, being physical.
Carr chased out of the pocket. Sacked by Alex Highsmith.
We got to get this one. Let's hold on 3. 1, 2, 3, let's hold.
Hi everybody, Missi Matthews and welcome to the Matchup Show presented by Unibet. Primetime Sunday Night Football matchup for round 2 between the Steelers and the Ravens. Let's get you ready for that by welcoming our panelists for today. Craig Wolfley of the Steelers Radio Network and SNR, and also Matt Williamson of Steelers.com and SNR as well. And Wolf, we know you love the O-line. You love running the ball. Is the Steelers running the ball well key to winning this game on Sunday?
There's no doubt about it, Missy. I mean, think about it. You coming in, going into Baltimore, one of the things you want to do is be able to withstand the storm of them being able to control the ball. The line of demarcation is the line of scrimmage. You've got to win the battle in the trenches. And it's going to be absolutely crucial because you're going to have Goliaths going at it in the blood sport that is the trenches. And I really believe that for the Steelers to be successful, they need to be able to run the ball, control the clock, and do the things that you need to do. But running the ball is always key and integral.
Matt, on the flip side, Coach Tomlin said on Tuesday that the run defense had a bad day against Baltimore when they were here in Pittsburgh. How did they clean that up, knowing that Lamar Jackson didn't practice again today on Thursday, so it looks like Tyler Huntley will once again be their starting QB?
Well, that certainly makes things easier, but they had a lot of success with Huntley the first time around, obviously. In that particular matchup, I thought the Steelers were the least physical team, or the less physical team. And usually the less physical team in Ravens Steelers and goes home with a loss. They've certainly cleaned up their run defense since. It's been phenomenal. But the Ravens are an interesting challenge. And in that particular game, and I think we'll see more of this, they played a ton, by NFL standards, a ton of 22 personnel. And what that is a back, their fullback, who happens to be 300 pounds and runs really well, but basically a guard, and 2 tight ends. Like, they hardly even acknowledge the wide receiver position. So Steelers will probably counter with 1 corner, maybe 3 linebackers on the field at once. I mean, a lot of different big personnel groupings. Kind of as Wolf mentioned, it's going to be big on big in this game.
That's huge. And one of the things that's going to be so crucial is to do what they've done the last 2 weeks. Win the personal battles. You know, it doesn't matter schematically if you line up at a 3-4, 4-3, in essence, if you're not winning the one-on-ones, even the 2-on-ones at times. You know, and it was just, for me, watching what Cam did this past weekend against the Raiders was the perfect example of what you've got to do if you want to be successful. And that is, you've got to win at the line of scrimmage. You've got to beat your one-on-ones, and the 2-on-ones you've got to at least neutralize. And that's what they've done such a good job of the last couple of weeks. Think about it. They shut down the Panthers. They shut down the Raiders and Josh Jacobs. That's huge. And if you can do it in those 2, you can do it in this one.
Matt, in terms of the Steelers' offense, what do they need to do? They're a young offense. We saw the growth, as Coach Tomlin called it, during that game-winning drive against the Raiders. But what will be the key? It's in Baltimore. You know what that environment's going to be, and it's on primetime.
Yeah, I wish I had a good answer for you, but I am very, very impressed with how the Ravens defense is playing of late. I mean, they have improved dramatically from the beginning of the year, and they were pretty good then. You know, they're rotating a lot of guys up front. Since they traded for Roquan Smith, they've definitely taken a step forward. The middle of the field with their 3 safeties and 2 linebackers, including Smith, is very athletic. I mean, that's a tough ground to go over for Freiermuth or crossing routes, things like that. They did have a lot of success, and I didn't see this coming. In the first matchup, they attacked those corners on the outside, including Marlon Humphrey, who's a great player. They got the ball downfield. Kenny's going to have to be really sharp, but more than anything, they're going to have to be patient, because I forecast a lot of punts in this game from both sides, and ending any drive with a kick isn't necessarily a bad thing in this game.
No, and certainly when you are able to temper that with some play action. That's the key. Can you get to the play action? Can you actually make Roquan Smith and Patrick Queen bite on the fake handoff? That's, to me, in essence, where if the running game is successful, that's where you go. And if not, the other thing that you got to do is, I'm sorry, but I think Kenny Pickens, George Pickens.
You're combining them, it's okay.
There's too much Pickett to Pickens and all going on, popping the peas. But the point is, oh my heavens, getting worse. The point is, Pickens is the guy that can stretch it down the field. And he's got to be the guy that they've got to take some shots with, I believe, over the top. I think the world of what the talent this kid's got, and of course you've got Deontay now, who has also turned into a real third down weapon. And that's got to continue.
And Deontay is still looking for that first touchdown of the season, but in terms of the Ravens, they're 14-1 at home under Coach Harbaugh against rookie quarterbacks. So Matt, do we need another defining moment, something like we saw against the Raiders, from Kenny to get this win?
Probably. I mean, I'm with Wolf. I mean, it would be wonderful to run the football. That has been the formula for the Steelers. I mean, it's pretty transparent what they want to do. But there's a reason that the Ravens are seeing basically the fewest rushing attempts in the league, because no one's running the ball well on them, So it's wonderful to say, hey, they need to run the ball. They need to run the ball. But most teams don't do that well against this defense. So I'm really interested, how patient will they be? I mean, if this is 3-0 at half, please don't abandon the run. I mean, if it's 13-10 in the fourth quarter, please don't abandon the run. But to your point, yes. I mean, Kenny's going to have to make throws. He's going to have to move the football through the air. I think he's very capable, but this is a challenge.
Matt, you're exactly spot on, bud. And the thing about it is, it's going to be a problem. But at the same time, if you go jumbo, do some of those things, I'm with you. How patient are you going to be? You're going to crack that rock by continually striking with the hammer and going after it, or are you going to give up? And it's going to be a key is, defensively speaking, can they get off, and can you keep it close, or keep where they're maybe you even got a lead. You get that lead, and then that encourages the running game more in participation. So we'll have to see how this thing plays out. It's nice, like you said, to be able to say, hey, yeah, they should run the ball, but at the same time, you have to be productive while running the ball.
Mm-hmm. And Wolf, you wanted to give a shout out to some members of the Steelers offense,
have
right?
to. I was being, they're saying, come on, we need a shout out. So a shout out to the Muth, to the 612, and to the Polar Express, of course, Alfredo Roberts' crew in the tight end room. They're begging for a little shout out. So there, boys, I got the right camera. There's a shout out there.
They need some love, and you want to see big things on Sunday in Baltimore.
Absolutely. So do more than just get a shout out.
All right, let's take a look now at our Week 17, I'm jumping ahead, opening lines across the league presented by Unibet Sportsbook, an official sportsbook partner of the Pittsburgh Steelers. If you're in Pennsylvania and are ready to place your wagers on any of this weekend's matchups, just download the Unibet PA app, or you can visit pa.unibet.com. We still have much more to come here on the Matchup Show as we get ready for round 2, Steelers and Ravens. A lot more talk about Cam Hayward, Captain Cam Hayward, and also AFC Defensive Player of the Week and the Steelers defense. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Matchup Show presented by Unibet. Let's give a shout out to Cam Hayward, who was named the Week 16 Defensive Player of the Week for his performance against the Raiders. Well, I don't think there's enough you can say about just the mentality, the physicality, the leadership that he brought during this game. And if I had to guess, Cam remembers what happened against the Ravens in terms of not being able to stop the run in their first meeting, and similar to how they brought that nasty attitude Week 1 to Cincinnati, they're probably going to bring that to Baltimore this week, right?
There's no question about it. I mean, if you want to go back to the movie Tombstone, where Doc Holliday says, make no mistake about it, it's not revenge he's after, it's a reckoning. I think it's a reckoning is what the Steelers setting about all things right. You can see Captain Cam right there. How do you pick up a 310-pound man and literally throw him into the quarterback? But that's what he's capable of doing. He's done so much in defensively speaking. Even his 12th year, he looks like a spring chicken out there. Man is just out there moving and grooving, and you got to love that. And I can't believe that in the Pro Bowl you overlook a guy like Cam Hayward. The guy is just really, as I said to Joe Green the other day, I said, Joe, this guy here, Cam, he's as close to you as we're ever going to see again, buddy.
Matt, is stopping the Ravens' run game as simple as it gets in terms of getting the win?
Pretty much. I mean, they really neglect the passing game, especially the wide receivers. I mean, their top 3 receivers last week all led the team in routes run. They ran the same amount of routes, 8.
Yeah.
8 routes last week by Watkins, Robinson, and Jackson. Andrews, as a result, he's been fighting injuries. He's a really, really good player, but he gets doubled, he gets tripled, he gets tons of attention time and time again. And Huntley is not the downfield passer that Lamar is. He's much more throw it sideways, get it out of his hands. So they're about as one-dimensional as a team or an offense as you're going to see, but they're really good at that dimension. And getting Dobbins back has helped. Getting Edwards back has helped. They're keeping those guys fresh, and they just bring big body after big body at you. And that offensive line's playing really well too.
Matt, in terms of Tyler Huntley, it looks like he will start for the 4th consecutive game. What have you seen him improve on since the first meeting with the Steelers?
Not much, to be honest with you. I think he's starting to show himself very much as a nice, cheap backup, a good fit for the Lamar offense, understands the concepts, but he's not nearly as dangerous as the starter, especially as a downfield passer, especially as a runner from an explosion standpoint. I think he's kind of showing he is what he is at this point.
I think a lot of it has to do too, Matt, is like you're talking about. They got a book on him now. They've seen him over and over in a number of situations, and now you start to understand what his capabilities are. And really the big threat is Mark Andrews, as we're just seeing on the screen here. That guy there he's a big part of their offense, and you simply start taking away some of those factors. It's going to come down whether they can be controlling the trenches such as they did in the first game. That's really what it's about.
And real quick, Missy, this is one of the most complex and unique schematic run games in the league. But the Steelers have seen it more than anybody. I mean, there's a reason when the Ravens play an NFC team, they have a really high success rate because those guys haven't seen it before. They haven't seen it in 3 or 4 years. Steelers see this a lot. So as Cam and some of these guys said after the first meeting, hey, we knew what was coming basically, but we just weren't up to the task of stopping it. So it's not really even a mentor schematic advantage.
And for all the things you guys are talking about in terms of the Steelers keeping their playoff hopes alive, those are good things that could help them get the win in Baltimore because they do have to take care of business. There's clearly a number of different things that can and maybe will happen, but the Dolphins have to lose this week. Their next 2 games for the Steelers to get in, to be exact. So they would need New England to beat them this week and then losing to Buffalo next week. But the New York Jets, sorry, too many N's here. If they lose this week against Seattle and then beat Miami, as we said, week 18, that helps the Steelers. So, but first and foremost, Wolf, as Coach said, you have to take care of business. So how do you block out all of the outside noise and the different scenarios that we look at and make our heads go crazy?
It's funny, like TV, social media, you just go click and you turn it off because your focus is solely and only on walking the zone up to the kickoff and being prepared and getting the job done when you're called upon. That's really what it's about. It's having that laser-like focus, and it's a matter of intensity, especially at this point in time during the season. Your intensity factor should be ratcheted up to, DEFCON 1 and be ready to go because that's what it's all about. And it doesn't take a whole lot for you to be able to get to that mentality because you've been through a number of weeks here now where it's that intensity keeps building up. Well, now you're getting to a peak of it, and that's all you need.
All right, let's take. Go ahead, Matt.
Real quick, what's interesting to me is kickoff being late now. You're going to have answers as to what happened, throughout the league. So if it doesn't go your way, I still don't think they're going to have a hard time getting up for the Ravens.
No. Good point, man.
Yeah, that's never an issue between these two teams. There's a reason why the league flexed them from a 1 o'clock time slot to the Sunday night primetime game. Let's take a look now at our Yinz chat. Predictive question for this matchup: over under 1.5 takeaways for the Steelers defense. Well, what are you taking here?
I'm going to go under. I wish it'd be over, but I got to go under. That's when I'm a lousy better.
Matt, what about you?
Well, here's one of the craziest things going to me is the Steelers now lead the whole league in interceptions.
Right.
Last in fumble recoveries. They have 3 fumble recoveries all year. I mean, that almost has to correct itself. And as much as this team runs the ball I'm going to predict they get a fumble recovery or two because it has eluded them at a remarkable rate. I'm going over.
Well, could we just say, would it be more prosperous or fortuitous maybe to go over under on how many passes the Ravens throw?
It might be 10. Right.
You know, it might be
We're
easier.
going to get a bunch of interceptions that way.
All right, guys, I really appreciate you joining me here today to break down Steelers and Ravens Sunday Night Football, their 10th matchup in that time slot, which is crazy to believe, but that is the deal. And thanks to everyone at home for watching as well. This has been the Matchup Show presented by Unibet. We'll see everybody back here next week.